Hey, sweethearts, it's Rowan, and it's been oh god. So I didn't do a med vlog last week because why? Because I was in so much pain, as you would have learned if you were one of like the three people who watched my live reading from Lost Souls, just a random chapter of Lost Souls I read on Halloween because it was the last Wednesday of the month, and uh, I didn't do any Halloween videos because oh god, I've actually gotten really tired of how. I know this is going to sound cliched, but I've gotten so tired of how commercialized Halloween has gotten, and I've seen it in my lifetime. In my lifetime, it's gone from a mostly children's festival with, some, side appeal for the adults, like, I don't know. I don't know. I was a kid then. But, like, a lot of people in, but, to going, at least depending on where you live, because apparently my friend Charles, he actually, like, lives out in a very, family-oriented, area of, like, he owns a house out in Allen Park, I believe, which, is far more full-time residential. Like, I guess I'm not too surprised if Ann Arbor itself didn't get high traffic for trick-or-treaters this year, which apparently it did not, according to a lot of people. But Ypsilanti, at least. Like, Ypsilanti is mostly families. In the downtown area, you've got a lot of students and whatnot because of Eastern Michigan and other, and students who've been priced out of Ann Arbor but are still going to U of M. But no, like, apparently there was a lot of places, especially in my area, where it's been really slow with the kids on Halloween, going out and doing stuff, and it's not due to, like, I mean, and then there's Allen Park, which, most people in that area just, like, it's like, yeah, it's Detroit because it's close enough. Um, but but yeah, I've seen it go from a mostly children's thing to, I guess depending on your area, either 50-50 children and adults, or just like straight up grown-ups thing. And I don't know, it's gotten, like, there's too much stuff. There's too much stuff about Halloween, and there's just so much pressure. I've just felt so much pressure from friends and acquaintances that, if I'm going to go out on Halloween, I've got to dress up. If I'm going to go, I got to make this big, grandiose costume, and I can't do that. I cannot afford any of that. And it's really isolating and alienating, and I feel completely alienated from, a holiday I used to really enjoy. I didn't, I mean, I wasn't much of a candy freak as a child. I loved white chocolate. I think I love white chocolate. I've always loved Skittles. I love Skittles. But I wasn't that much into candy when I was a little kid. I've gotten more into it as I've grown up. I don't know what the hell kind of Benjamin Button disease I've got that's caused that nonsense to ooh. Okay, I guess I forgot night my bedtime pills more this week than I thought. Okay. But yeah, but I love dressing up. I love, the I loved all the vampire films on television, and, like, oh god, they would that's probably the first time I ever saw Nosferatu and or Cabinet of Dr. Caligari was a TCM uh when I was a little kid, and it was like, I think this was just before, maybe just before or just after it split off from TBS. So, like, after the big controversy with that. If you don't know, you can probably easily find stuff about, like, so, okay, Ted Turner, um, he's, he's this, he was like the big media mogul of the 80s and early 90s. There was a, oh my gosh, yes, I will watch this later. Shut up. Um, uh, um, yeah, like the big American one. I believe he still owns Is he still with us? I hope so. I hope so, because, oh my gosh, no, I don't know you. Go away. uh, yeah, he was like the big media mogul of the late 80s, early 90s. What's this one? Oh, right. Okay. So St. John's Wort, it's about that time of the year. I've noticed I should probably like switch to twice a day now. Just I get seasonal depression. It's not too bad. I'm not as bad as some people with it, but um but it's compounded by my chronic pain, which was a big reason I didn't do my med vlog last week because I was just like I was in too much pain and I'd actually like run out of this the day after I would have done a med vlog and I would have run out, and I did run out of. Well, actually, this is a different muscle relaxer than what I had been taking for the last couple of years. For the last couple of years, I'd been taking, and I threw out the bottle. That's okay. I was taking Carisoprodol. Brand name is Soma, but I get the generics, so I get like what's written up on the little thing up on top because Walgreens. Um, Oh yeah, manufacturer. Actually, this does not have the brand name on here. Neither does this. It has the manufacturer name for the generics. But okay, so my doctor, she was like really hesitant to. So okay, I was taking. Actually, let me finish up Halloween first. But yeah, like oh right, no, I was talking about Ted Turner. So okay, Ted Turner, then the meds. So yeah, Ted Turner. If you've ever watched The Critic, it's an animated sitcom from the early '90s. Let's see. This was like it wanted to be like the first season especially. It kind of wanted to be. Its goal was to like do everything that The Simpsons wasn't doing. It did also have a. I think it had L. Brooks as a. You know what? Okay, so my DVD of The Critic is here, and Pudgy Balding, from the producers of The Simpsons, and I think in this case that is James L. Brooks, because I know Matt Groening didn't have anything to do with this. It's not saying which one. From the producers of The Simpsons about a blah 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 blah. Okay, does it say anything on the thing? And see, this is how I should have known that there was something deeply wrong with my most recently acquired ex, is because he thought that no, created by Al Jane, Mike Rice, co-producer Steve Tompkins. Okay, so okay, it is Gracie Films. I don't know who's involved with Gracie Films, but okay, it's Michael J. Mendel, produced by Richard Moore, produced by Richard Reynes, produced by Richard Sakai. Oh, yep, executive producers James L. Brooks. Okay, he was involved with that. I was right in remembering that. But yeah, so Duke Phillips is like their big like attempt at lampooning Ted Turner, and it's wonderful. And there's even a there's something. Oh yeah, Phillips Vision was a thing in an episode of that where he decides he's going to release classic films on his cable station with sort of like a choose your own ending sort of thing, which is specifically goofing on the fact that Ted Turner on TBS. So okay, you gotta cut some films for time, just so that they'd go along with commercials. But he also was he'd also decided to colorize some of them to have them appeal to a modern audience or something. I don't remember exactly what his reasoning was. I think I was like 10 at most. Yeah, I was like 9 or 10 when this was all going down and everything was all higgledy-piggledy. But then in response to what the hell? That's weird. But then like in response to that, as he then decided, for everybody who wants, these classic films as they are, he was going to release. He started the Turner Classic Movies station on cable, and So yeah, like, and that was their big thing, was it was all classic films, all uncut, unedited, uncolorized, if they weren't originally released in color. And it was a basic cable station. So, like, HBO would get out stuff that was more recent, sometimes classic stuff, at least like way back. We're talking like 80s and early 90s, when HBO, because, they also did like the uncut, commercial free films, but it would be more recent stuff. But, Ted Turner's Turner Classic Films, that was on basic cable, except in Lansing. For some reason, Lansing, Michigan, when I was living there, that was in, it's not a premium cable. It's not in their premium package with Comcast, but it's still Comcast Xfinity. So I don't even have basic cable. I just have like their basic digital television because that's what's cheapest. But yeah, here with in the Ann Arbor Ypsilanti area, and it's the same Comcast, that I go to. So it's the same service area. If I were to upgrade to a basic cable package, that would include Turner Classic Films or Turner Classic Movies. And I know this. I know this because I have been in the hospital where they have only basic cable. I don't know. University of Michigan, health hospitals. That's one of the better equipped teaching hospitals. Tend to rank like number 14 in the nation for hospitals. They only get you basic cable. Like, you've only got basic cable. Trust me, I've tried. But Turner Classic Movies in the Ann Arbor Ypsilanti Comcast service area, that's basic cable. In Lansing, Turner Classic Movies is like their mid-tier cable package with, like extended stations, like, well, you've got Turner Classic Movies, you've got the hub, you've got Logo. And the main reason we got the mid-grade package was because Scott really wanted to see My Little Pony. And the tub was a mid-tier package. So oh right, I was gonna be switching this. Okay, so now the pills. So the Carisoprodol, I was taking that for maybe the last year and a half, maybe two. Okay, so today, and then what happened? So Dr. Rockwell does not normally like to prescribe that because it has a higher than average rate of chemical dependency. And then what? You know what? I don't think this is doing me any good. That's right. I was going to end that. So it's got a higher than average rate of chemical dependency, and so she just doesn't like prescribing it, and I understand that. But yeah, like, I was taking this. This is cyclobenzaprine, and I was taking this for at least 3 years prior, but I'd gotten to a point where it was starting to feel ineffective. And she tried prescribing me something different. Okay, that's fine. I'm all open to trying new and exciting pharmaceuticals to help me manage my pain. And so then what happened? Okay, got those. So then what happened was the first one that she tried prescribing me, and I don't even remember what it is, but I do remember that when I went to go pick it up at Walgreens, it had an $80 copay, and I cannot afford an $80 copay. This, I think, actually, I threw that thing out, so I can't go looking for it. I do normally recycle, but when it's stuff with my medications on it, I just throw it out, and I know that, like, some places they will sort the trash. It's just like with the sorted recycling service, that makes it easier on their workers who do this. Okay. But yeah, like, I don't know. I could get a shredder. And or at the very least go to Staples and have, it shredded by the pound, which probably wouldn't cost me barely anything. But okay, this is twice a day. but so yeah, that's something like this is, and I can't remember what the copay is, but the copay is different on all of mine. But let's see, the Androgel, that is a like a $9 copay, but all the pills and this stuff, this would be the clobetasol for my psoriasis, and so the pills and the topicals, well, except for the Androgel. But that's only like $9 copay because it is a brand name. Like, it is a brand name. It's not available in generics. So yeah, like everything of mine that is available in generic, that is something like a maximum $3.35 copay. These I want to say are less than that. I'm pretty sure this is less than that. And I know the Xanax. The Xanax is for some reason a 44-cent copay. I don't understand that. But that's because Medicare. So when it's an $80 copay, even with the Medicare and the Medicaid to supplement and all that happy horseshit, yeah, it's like I can't afford it. It can't be effective on me if I can't afford it, right? So, I'm basically like, it was like pulling teeth pretty much because I had to get a thing out from what's it called? Walgreens. So I asked the chemist at Walgreens, first off, if they could, like look up just, like do a price check on things that what? On things that were similar enough to this that would have been covered. And they said, the only other one that would have been covered would be the carisoprodol, and or at least covered within my price range. I don't even remember if that. Oh wait, yeah, I think they just said that plain wasn't covered, but so I basically had them print out something for me so that I could take it to my next appointment. And, like, I know she didn't want to prescribe that, but, again, at the same time, it's like I explained it very carefully, when I explained it to her that, the difference in the price there, that, like, this third thing couldn't be effective if I can't afford to take it home with me. It's like, this is what we got to do. So, so she was really adamant against, because like I said, it had been between a year and a half to 2 years that I'd been on the carisoprodol. So she really did not want to refill my prescription, even though like I barely take any of my pain medications as it is. I'm taking them more lately though. I've been taking this and this really near daily for the last week just because it got so chilly so fast compared to what it had been doing. Like we had like maybe a few days where it was like, in the 50s and 60s, but like it pretty much went from like 70, 80 some to, 30, 40 some, during the day. So, and that's not exactly typical for Michigan. So, but yeah, like the fact that it just like the weather just like went, it was like a 20-degree, drop so fast. It's like, that's really been messing with my back pain and my muscles and all that. So I've been taking these near daily, which is more than I usually take my pain medications. And then what happened? So yeah, I figured, well, okay, I know with allergy medications, like if such and such is starting to feel like it's no longer effective, I can just switch the allergy medication, to something else for a while. And if that one, starts feeling ineffective again, then starts feeling ineffective as well, I suppose. Then I can just switch to another allergy medication, and I can just keep rotating them like that until the sun explodes. And But yeah, so far it looks like it is kind of like with allergy medications where I can I can just like switch around between the two every few years or so until like or maybe in a few years, that or maybe in another couple years that other one will suddenly be covered for some reason. Okay. Stool softener. And this is because I was on Vicodin for about 3 years and I do not like it. And one of the reasons I do not like it is because I am not even 40 years old yet and I can't crap like a normal person my age anymore unless I take this shit. So I guess that's it. Cat is using the litter box. I've got toast that has now gone cold. And I've got last night's the cool kids with David Allen Greer and Leslie Jordan and Martin Mull and Vicki Lawrence. And I was actually kind of entertained that Vicki Lawrence is actually like Vicki Lawrence is playing a character who's a few years I think she's a few years younger than herself. But yeah, like I was not aware that it like did not really hit me because I was like a young teen watching In Living Color with David Allen Greer, and it just suddenly hit me seeing him in this all of a sudden. Holy shit, he got old. That means I got old. That also means so he's 65 now. So that means he was about my age when In Living Color ended. Yeah. Which also means that he worked his ass off for years to get that big break that that's why everybody knows him, like even white people. But yeah, it's a really entertaining little show about I am kind of bothered that with the because it's following the Gang of Four sitcom format with set around like a group of four friends. Sometimes it's a gang of five, but so I'm really kind of bothered by the fact that this gang of four is it's like three old men and one old woman. When and they're living in a retirement community. It's it's an active adult retirement community, so it's not like a nursing home. So there's like a difference there in case you weren't aware. Like my friend Scott, his grandfather lived in a nursing home that had some like it was kind of like a split between the two. Like there was like a nursing, like there were people who were there like like nursing convalescent kind of care, and then there were people who were more active and going out and doing things. And see, here's the thing is like, okay, granted he was in his 80s at the time his at the time Scott's mother finally put him in there, just because sign him up in there. But yeah, like he was in his 80s, sure, and these characters are approximately late 60s. I think we know one of them is 65. That's what we do. No, hi Mario. We know one of them is 65, so we're figuring mid to late 60s for these characters. And but still, like even at about that age, the men start dying off sooner than the ladies. So it really should be more like 3-1 in favor of the ladies characters. So that's one thing that kind of bothers me, because when Scott's grandfather 80-some-year-old man went into this nursing retirement community home thing, he was like he was like the first new old man that they'd gotten there in a while, who was still able to walk, and I think he even had his own teeth too. So that just like put him at the top of the social ladder. Like he had his pick of the ladies. Like his mother was complaining that these horny old ladies were just like like swarming all over him when she came to sign him in the first time. And so yeah, like that's like so that is the one thing I'm finding a little unrealistic about this, is that, I like, even when we see the extras, all about, it's like a 50-50, like men to women in the extras. And it really should be more like, two, like more like 2 out of 3 should be women rather than, an even split. So it should be like 2 to 1 women to men, at the very least, amongst the extras. Like I guess I don't mind so much. No, I'm not gonna update Prime Photos. I wouldn't mind so much, like, if that's just this group of friends, these like 3 old guys who are banding together, and this one cool old lady, who just decides, what, fuck it, just hanging out with them. She was the new girl on the pilot episode. But again, I wouldn't mind it so much if, like, when we pan out and see all the extras in the shots and all the side characters, every so often, if there were more old ladies. Yeah, we just like I said, we just need like 2 to 1 in the old lady to old man ratio amongst the extras at the very least. That would make it a little bit more believable to me. Other than that, a lot of the humor is like fairly similar to the Golden Girls in a way. Oh shit, and I'm forgetting the characters' names already. I've been watching this show since it started, but let's see. I would have to say, David Alan Grier. His character is kind of the Blanche. He's a little bit, always like on the little lascivious end. He's toned it down. Because at the very least, like they're, I can understand, like the writer's room would be like, okay, let's tone it down, because he's an old man. Let's just a little bit. I'm hesitant to put Martin Mull's character in the, kind of Dorothy role, because like if I were, like, he'd probably be there by default. But Leslie Jordan, he's very much the Rose of the group, and Vicki Lawrence is definitely the Sophia of the group. She's just wonderful. But yeah, I'm like, like Martin Mull's character on this, he's not easily comparable to Dorothy from the Golden Girls. Just like in a lot of ways. I mean, he's not quite as sarcastic. He's like, his character is implied to be like, is implied to have some low-key dementia traits. So, and Dorothy was always sharp as a tack, but, Sophia was like even more so. So that's definitely where I'd say Vicki Lawrence would fit the Sophia. But yeah, I enjoy it. So there's this week's med vlog. If you've sat through my rambling this much about pills and Ted Turner and why I'm not so much enjoying Halloween lately, there's just too much pressure, especially when you're a goth. It's like there's so much pressure to just like do shit. And like there's a joke that Halloween is goth Christmas, and it is so true on so many levels. And at the same time, especially because I've pretty much decided, what, I'm not going to make myself broke for this. I'm going to do what I want, even if it's not, like in the spirit of the season. I'm going to do what the fuck I want with, a key few people I choose to celebrate it with. I'm going to do it my own, and I'm going to do it exactly my way, exactly the way I want to do it, or I'm not doing it at all. And but yeah, okay, that's this week's med vlog. At the very least, see you again in 6 days when I gotta refill the pause again. I am hopefully going to make another book related video. I have tried so many times to do this Edgar Allan Poe tag by Raven Dracul. She's just this cute little girl who's on YouTube. I can't believe I can't believe if she's more than 20. I don't know. She just looks so young. I just want to pinch those fucking cheeks too. But it's like, she's, I know, like, crazy old man here, like, saying a little girl's cute, but, like, I'm crazy old gay man. Like, she's cute, like, much like my cats are cute. Granted, my cats get on my nerves more than she does, but but still, it's like, she's just so adorable. I just, like, cute little baby bat. I just want to, like, nurture her and help her out and do the tag she created. But I've tried, like, so many times to do it, and, like, something wrong happened with the video. So I'm going to try one last time. And if that does not work again, I'm just going to be like, fuck it. Okay. All right, sweethearts. Bats and kisses, and I love you. And oh, I got to move that. And I love you all so very much, and goodbye.